Ruckus. Thanks for joining. Please like, subscribe, and share. 10-8. What's going on? How's everybody doing? All right, let's see what we got rolling here. I've got something playing in the background. Just give me 1 second so we can get that figured out. Get rid of that. There we go. Nan, how are you? Teresa, just to let you guys know, we have a pretty bad storm going on right now. And the power went out here just a few minutes before I went live. So if I get cut off, I'll be back. Just take a minute. It's Florida. What do you want, you know? Four Pits, what's going on? How you doing? Rescue all the dogs. What's happening? Janice. Kevo. Beth Gonzalez. How are you, dear? Jennifer. Railroad Joe. Olivia, too. Jinx. STFU. Let me see here. We got Olivia. We got Jinx. Lewis or Louise. I'm sorry. I think that is Louise. I apologize about that. Lee Link, hello. I miss you too. I do. I miss you too. Thank you for the happy Father's Day. Jill, how are you, dear? Pigeon, Mac Pigeon, what's going on? Camaro Lover, 73. I'm a Chevy guy myself. Kimosabi. Good to hear. Good to hear you doing great. Thomas, how are you, my friend? Jillian. Ooh, I'm sure you guys can hear that thunder in the background. Colette, how are you? True Crime Housewife, what's shaking? Jess Deb, what's going on? Doc Fire. Hello. Susie. David Rogers. Grace. What's happening, Grace? Michelle O. What's going on from Australia? Miss Hybrid Pisces in the house. What's going on? Josh DePosh. Always good to see you, sir. Alrighty, let's get this show on the road. I've been away for a little bit. I've been going on other people's lives. I just haven't been doing my own. Helping other people out, and plus I'm working on other things behind the scenes. So I've been a busy little beaver. Lakeside Justice, good to see you. Haven't seen you for a while. But I want to talk a little bit about Richard Allen, his condition, his accommodations, shall we say. He's fine, folks. He's fine. I've seen this a million times, that 1,000-mile stare. Hey, CJK, how are you? That 1,000-mile stare. They all do it. All of them. Every one of them. Callie, how are you? You know, he didn't have any of those problems weeks before he was arrested. Now, all of a sudden, he's a basket case, right? Hi, Amanda. All right, so let's just start with this. This is where he's at now. He's at Westville Correctional Facility. I don't know which one of the buildings he's in. From what I hear, he's in A pod, which is their CM unit, the lockdown unit. But he's there because they need to take care of him. They need to shelter him from other inmates and stuff like that. So he's being cared for. Trust me, he's definitely being cared for. And anybody that says this is a typical cell, okay, in most prisons, in most jails, it's a typical cell. It's made out of cinder blocks. And you can see above the stainless steel unit, that's the toilet and the sink all in one. And it's catty corner like that because there's a pipe chase that runs. The adjacent cell has the same setup, but it's on just piggyback to this one. There's a pipe chase because these assholes will flush their whole jumpsuit down the toilet and flood the whole unit. So they have to have access to the pipe chase. Right above that is a stainless steel mirror. They can use to shave, brush their teeth, what have you. And right next to that is an intercom with a button. Hi, Boston Christian. Hello, Tequila. What's going on? So he's not sleeping on a cement floor. Okay, that is a cement bunk, but I'm here to tell you it's no softer or harder than a steel bunk. Okay, so he's not getting treated any worse than anybody else, and that's way bigger than any kind of dog kennel I've ever seen. His attorneys want you to believe that he's living in a dog kennel. Hi, James. How are you? Yeah, no matter where he goes, you're absolutely right. I say move him. I say move him if that's going to shut the defense up because they don't have anything else. They're not crying about his innocence right now. They're crying about his treatment, and that's for a reason because they've seen the disclosure. They know what the state has, and I'm gonna try and keep up with the chat. I'll keep like one eye over there and one eye over here. I'm not that smart, but I'll do the best I can. Excuse me. So that's what a typical cell looks like right there. Okay, so when they came to pick him up to bring him to court, right? We've all seen, and I'll show you. We'll go over this. We can clearly see here when they take him out of the van. If you look at his legs, they were nice to him. They let him tuck his pants into his socks to keep the shackles in place. And if they didn't, what's up, Frank Meister? If they didn't, it would dig into his leg a little bit more. So depending on the inmate, their demeanor, and how they've been towards staff, sometimes they'll let them do that. But you can see he definitely has shackles on. And if you watch this video, right? Watch this video. He's already used to wearing shackles. He's walking normally. If you didn't see that he had shackles on, you wouldn't even know he had shackles the way he's walking. Now, that little shuffle, that's all part of his little shtick. But I want to show you guys something right there. He's not wearing a bulletproof vest. Okay, he's not. He's wearing what's called a racker vest, and that has it. We call them kidney belts. It would just go around your waist, and it's remote controlled. It'll zap you. And I'm going to show you a little video on that. But you can absolutely see down the bottom of his back there. You can see the pack that has both the charging, the battery, and the device itself. It sends 50,000 volts into 4 points. 2 points below near his kidneys and 2 up by his shoulders. And it'll fire off from anywhere between 5 to 8 seconds. Once you have to press both buttons so you don't do it by mistake. So, I'm only laughing because I've been zapped by all this stuff, and it sucks. It makes you pee your pants, shit your pants, do all kinds of stupid things, depending on who you are. But as you can see, he is not being led around like a dog on a leash. He has a belly chain on, and I'm going to show you how that works as well. But that is definitely a control device. So this person knows while he's in court, if he acts up, that he's going to get zapped. And I was going to put a bunch of videos on here, but it'll take you 2 seconds. Just go to YouTube and search for inmate attacks attorney in court. It doesn't matter if they're black box, handcuffed, shackled, blah, blah, blah. They go after their attorneys. That's a no-no. You can't do that, folks. So this is a deterrent, and it's a very, very good deterrent. I'm here to tell you, he knows that's on his back. He knows he's going to get zapped to all oblivion if he acts like a fool. So it's very, very effective. Yeah, I've heard them called all kinds of things, blanket vests, racker vests. There's a company that makes them. And this is a little video that the company actually puts out when they're sending these things out. And I was going to put the volume on for this, but this guy's really boring. So I'll just walk you through it. Basically a vest. Okay, it's a thin vest. It looks kind of like a ballistic vest, but it indeed is not a ballistic vest. You get zapped with that, you probably wish you were shot instead. Why does he need that much equipment to keep him in line? Was he acting up? No, that's to make sure that he does not act up. What he's being accused of, he hasn't been found guilty. We have due process. Tells people that he's capable of doing some pretty bad things. And I guarantee that Kohlberger has some sort of attachment like this underneath his suit that he's wearing. Usually they'll put them under the suit. But they're making sure this guy's taken care of and that he's not going to act up and there's not going to be any issues. Now, the vest by itself, you can see the little white dot. He just put his hand over it. There's 2 probes at the top between his shoulders, and then there's 2 probes at the bottom around his kidney area. And once they hit that little remote control, like I said, it looks like a key fob for your car. Hey, Steve. I use the system during trials on high-risk defendants with suits. We brief them every day of the consequences. Yeah, and they are consequences. But this is the money part of this little vest. The vest just carries these 2 units. One is the positive and the negative, so that they can charge that bad boy, and he can go for a ride for 5 to 8 seconds. And I guarantee you, he will be on his best behavior after you do that to him one time. There's the probes. So it's effective. And anytime he is wearing that, I guarantee you he will not act up because he knows what's going to happen. That's why they use that kind of stuff, folks. It's not because we want to go around zapping people. That's not the point. The point is for people to behave. It would be much better if these guys could just, there's the remote device. It'd be much better if these guys could just do their job, take these guys to court, and then go home, not have to worry about anything. And Steve knows this. You know how much paperwork it takes to zap somebody with this? RA seems fine to me. As Doug Carter said, they know the crime was about power to the killer. So RA is now powerless completely. He only has control over his behavior, eating, hygiene, etc. I agree 100%. 100%. Somebody in his position doesn't have much control, but they'll try and make you think that they do, that they control everything. They'll write grievances. That's another thing. We haven't heard anything about that. In the prison system, inmates have the inmate request system. If they want a book, if they want what have you, pen and paper, they put in a request. If they want commissary, they request commissary. If they have a grievance against somebody that works in the facility, they have a grievance form that they can fill out, and it has to be turned in. All this stuff is monitored. So it's not like you could just say, F you, I don't like you, I'm not turning in your grievance. But anyways, that's the device that he is wearing. So it's not a big deal. It was meant to keep him in check, and again, he was kept in check. Now, all right, let's see. Let me answer this real quick. David Rogers, well then, he has as much protection as Lee Harvey Oswald did when Jack Ruby plugged him. Good point. I don't know where you're getting at there, but it's a very good point. I can't remember if I rode the lightning of this system. I did the others. I did with the kidney belt, Steve. They didn't have, these weren't prevalent when I was around. Now, let's get to his hand restraints. Okay? This is called the black box system. You put those handcuffs on somebody, you clip that box, it's hinged over it, and then you put the metal clip on it. And I'll show you how that works. If you picture and there's going to be a video here for a second to show you, but the cuffs go on the inmate, the hinge part goes down, you close it, and you put this metal clip over it. That leaves a slot for a belly chain to go through, and that's what it looks like when it's installed. Now, what that does is you put the handcuffs on, you double lock them. That makes it, whoever's wearing these cannot get at the opening device. Doesn't matter how much of a pick lock expert they are. Hey, Purdue, how are you? They're not going to be able to get this thing open. And it's going to control, they can't roll their hands back and forth and such like that, which is a big advantage. They'll figure out any advantage they can get. I'm here to tell you, a handcuffed person can hurt you. They can hurt you bad. So that's what it looks like when it's on and it's completed. Okay? Now, that slot in it, there's a belly chain. And the belly chain, as you can see, it has a metal piece that goes through that slot, goes around the inmate's waist, the chain goes back through that slot, and then goes around them the other way and clips, or usually is locked onto the chain. So it's not a dog chain, it's all around his waist. His attorneys are full of shit. And that's what it looks like when it's installed properly. Okay, he can't get at anything. He can't move. He can't raise his hands above his head. He can't get behind you and choke you. He can't really do anything. You would think, right? You would think inmates that are secured in this way only have caused harm to people before in the past. People that don't think of this kind of thing, they go about their daily business, they're clerks, they're whatever at the courthouse, and hey, Copper Horse, how are you? And they don't expect this kind of thing that happens, but it can happen. Now, there's two ways that you can put this black box on. The one on the left is called side by side. So his hands are together. He can actually cup his hands. That is not comfortable for some people. They would rather have the stacked, like on the right hand side, which is what obviously he prefers. So that's why they do it that way. That's his preference. It doesn't matter which way it's done. He's equally as incapacitated as far as movement goes. Now here's a little short video, and I will let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger. Yeah, there we go. All right, so you have the accused person, the detainee, the inmate, the convict, whatever you want to call this person. Yeah, and put his hands out. Now, if this is done inside a cell, he'll put his hands out through the food chute, which I'll show you afterwards, and you would handcuff him. Then you would get in, have him kneel on his bunk or on a bench or a chair, and put the shackles on. And then you would do the black box and the belly chain and all that to finish securing him. So let me just move through this just a little bit so we can get past this. So he's putting the handcuffs on, he's double locking them, making sure everything's good. Well, now it's time to put the black box on. And this is what I was telling you. This prevents them access. You can see the keyhole in the double lock slot. Well, that box covers those. He can't get at those now. I don't care how good he is. He cannot get out of that black box. Show me someone that can do that, and I'll show you someone I want to move to the opposite end of the earth from, because that's one strong person, and I ain't messing with him. But as you can see, the chain has that tab at the top, metal tab with a slot. So you put that through the black box clip, then back through the slot, and then back around the inmate the opposite way. Inmate, detainee, convict, tourist, whatever you want to call them. And then you can either clip this to the chain or you can lock it to the chain. Most time they lock it to the chain. So if they're saying that he was being dragged around like a dog, they may have had that end of the chain loose until he sat down to make sure that that didn't bind on him. Because trust me, they don't want to hear any crap from the attorneys. So, you know, they'll make him as comfortable as all get out. So now he's got the belly chain on and the black box. Sometimes, as you can see here, they'll have a chain hanging down that his shackles will go through. And that's for the real bad inmates. That's for the guys that cause a lot of problems. So you see the ring at the end of it there. So they'll put the shackle through that ring and then connect it to each leg. So it's connected to the belly chain, which is connected to the black box, which really limits his mobility. It limits his ability to do harm or damage. Not only the staff, but other inmates, detainees, trustees, bystanders, whatever you want to call them, pretrial detainees. He can't hurt them either. All right. Now, in his facility, there's different kinds of housing. Question, is this something we can try at home? Absolutely. You can order all this stuff online, to be honest with you. Let me see what Big Fish had to say. It makes sense to put those under a person's suit to control them without prejudice. But a 5-point restraint plus the vest is overkill. It's a power play. Anyone? Oh, I can never say her name right, and I don't want to mispronounce it. Let's see what she said. Let me go back up here. I think it's Anya. Said he was like a scared animal. Yeah, who cares? Good. He's right where he needs to be. That's my opinion. I believe in due process. I'm all for it. He's innocent and still proven guilty. But I believe he's guilty, so I could definitely not serve on that jury. That's for sure. They'd get me out of there toot sweet. Do you think the defense team wanted him restrained and under control because he was likely to blurt out confessions? I have no idea. Teresa. No idea. We'll touch on that as well. Actually, some jails do this exact procedure for any prisoner of any offense. Pretty much, if you're leaving the courthouse, you're going to be secured. That's for the officer's safety, for the inmate safety, and for the general public safety. Not really worried if he was scared or fearful. I do feel two sweet girls and how terrified they must have been. Anyone who does vile things to kids should be afraid every day of their lives. Yes, I agree. But we do have due process. And again, it's just my opinion that he's guilty. But, it's we'll see. We'll find out. I don't think he did it on his own. David Rogers, Ruck, I'm hard-pressed into believing this little twerp had the physical capacity to overpower two teenagers and murder them. I agree with you 100%. I think he did have help. Okay. You're welcome, Teresa. I know this is stuff that the regular everyday person doesn't know or understand. But this picture here, this is what's called direct supervision. They started doing this in the late 80s, where they put the officer, you can see the officer at his little station there, he's really not protected. We've seen cases where the officers are getting attacked by inmates and they actually get saved by other inmates. But this is direct supervision. So this officer may go over and sit on one of those metal tables while inmates are playing cards or whatever and sit there and talk with them. That's what they want you to do. They want you to build a rapport. But in this case, there's an upstairs and downstairs. And the three doors that are directly underneath where the stairs are, where the inmate in the yellow is standing, that's the showers. There's three for the top, three for the bottom. Right at the bottom of the stairs, you can see the phone bank, which in my opinion is a shitty place to put a phone bank. And there's a TV somewhere in that area hanging up on the wall. I can't believe they even have a clock there. The only way the inmates upstate in Florida knew what time it was what they were eating, unless they had a watch. If it was scrambled eggs, it was morning time. If it was a ham sandwich, it was lunchtime. Let's see what Steve says here. The React belt had a range, I think, of 100 yards back in the day. I was first line of control. We had two officers with lethal overwatch capabilities nearby. Exactly. And the only thing that scared me when I worked at death row, when I went outside, I looked up in the towers. I knew who was up in the towers. Didn't make me feel safe at all. I worked in psych hospitals, and it's similar to jail. I hear there are a lot of similarities. I'm sure there are. Now, and if that was a criminally insane hospital, yeah, there's tons and tons of similarities. Okay, so this is called direct supervision. So the officer's right in there with the inmates. This is just another picture of another facility, but it's the same thing. It's direct supervision. And you can see they got a soda machine. They got a snack machine. I can't believe all this shit. But you can see the showers over there to the right. And they even put a fat little CO that looks like me, but I'm not that short. And you can see over on the way left side, you can see the inmates on the phone at the phone bank. And on the right side there, you can see the little kiosk. That's for the video visits. When you saw that Barbara McDonald interview with Kegan Kline, that's the kind of thing he was using. That's why you could see inmates walking behind him. Let's see, Gail. So if he's that dangerous to himself and others, isn't that cause to put him in mental hospital for evaluation than before a judge or decision of mental illness? Absolutely not. He's charged with a crime first, Gail. We'll worry about all that stuff afterwards. If he's found incompetent, which is what they're probably trying to do, they'll put him in a facility until he is deemed competent, and then he's going to go to trial at that point. So it doesn't matter. From what I understand, he wants to get it over with. Jennifer says, I worked in an alternative school with SO kids and physically dangerous kids, got hit in the head with a concussion. I can only expect that any time I could go south, and all of this is needed. It could go south. I apologize. Yes, this is all precautionary. He can't really do much shackled in black box with every law enforcement officer around. Agreed. And that's exactly, you just answered my own question. You drove a point home for me. Because of that, Big Fish, he's not doing anything. And I'm not being mean to you, hon, at all. At all. I just understand how this shit works. I've seen these assholes smoking and joking and dapping and fucking around, and then they get black box shackled. They're going to court. All of a sudden, until they get back, and then they're smoking and joking and trading two soups for a Snicker bar. I've seen it all. I've seen it all. I'm not impressed with anything that he's doing right now, but it is effective. It is effective. Yeah, I've had some time with him. Not much time in the pods, like in this picture. I worked death row when I first started my career. All right, let's. Okay, now in a housing area like that, direct supervision, they'll wheel in the meal trays like this, and whatever officer, male or female, doesn't matter. They call out, chow's up, sleep late, lose weight. They roll the doors. The guys come out. They get their trays. They set them on those metal tables that are in the day room in the common area, and they eat. Similar to these young ladies who are probably all innocent of anything that they've been accused of. I guarantee you they will all tell you that. Are eating in the housing area. You can see they have little covers on their trays. They flipped them over. And some of them have several trays. So that means they bullied somebody out of their tray, or they traded their breakfast tray for a dinner tray or what have you. They have their special meals that they enjoy. I understand too. I used to be a criminal. I've been in those institutions. Never a vest though. Hey, you're fine with me. You always will be, Big Fish. I love you to death. Kimmy, that looks like a dangerous job the CO has. CO's out in the open like that, and the inmates are out of their cells. Yeah, that's everywhere, though. They do that all over the country now. It's called direct supervision. It's just how they do it. They decided that works better than linear supervision, which is what this is. This is how Richard Allen is living. Same kind of cell. The cell looks the same inside, but this is linear supervision. The inmates aren't out wandering around. They're in lockdown. They're in their cells. You can see that they have food chutes and they have intercoms on the wall. Anytime there's control rooms, and I'll show you a picture of that, anytime, say, a nurse needs to get the door open, can't pass the meds through the food chute, has to do blood pressure, whatever, there has to be a deputy, a guard with that nurse, male or female. Doesn't matter if it's a male or female nurse. Has to be a deputy with them. They pop the door, and that is time-stamped. When that door gets popped, it's time-stamped. That intercom turns on and starts recording. That's time-stamped. That's all to protect the facility, the state, the governor, the sheriff, whoever, of their vicarious liability so that they can prove that they did no wrong, that it was the person that's incarcerated that was the problem. Yeah, we can. Yeah. We just got. Hey, we'll try and talk LA into coming. We'll have some fun with LA. Okay, so that's linear supervision, where you're just walking down and you're looking. Okay, you can see there's things taped on the doors. That's special instructions about that inmate, maybe medical or what have you. Now, this facility right here, you can see the intercoms. Right on the outside of the door. This correctional officer is looking in through the window, maybe talking to the inmate, maybe not. But you can see there's a key. There's a big old key that'll open that door, those round discs that looks like hockey pucks. But they're popped by a control room. At the end of the hallway there, you can see that tinted glass. That's the control room. The COs will communicate via radio and communicate, hey, pop 106, pop 12.7, what have you. And they're monitored. They're on camera. You see the camera up in the top left-hand corner there, so that the control room deputies can watch, and if they can see if something's going wrong, they can call for help, and help will get there pretty damn quick. This is what a linear facility does when it's chow time. That's called the food tray for a good reason. They put their food tray in like that. Now, when Richard Allen is coming out for court, they drop that tray down. They tell him to stick his hands out through the chute. They put the handcuffs on him. And then they open the door. They tell him to turn around, kneel on his bunk or on the chair, put his shackles on. Then they'll black box, belly chain him, and put the vest on him and get him prepared for that. They may do most of that stuff down in booking, which is where he goes in and out for transport. That's where I spent most of my time, was in booking. This is what the intercoms look like. They're inside the cell, they're outside the cell. And they're all wired in to this is a Q15. This is a sergeant. This is actually a sergeant. I read the paperwork on it. They have magnetic covers that goes over the windows. Some inmates will make lewd actions and comments towards nursing staff, female staff, and the such. Use your imagination. So they put those over the doors until they need to check on them. But you can see he's got his key ready, and he is attempting to open up the food chute. Okay, so let's see. This is a nurse going down in a linear unit. Now, she's going to take somebody's blood pressure, but she's going to be able to do everything through the chute. That's just her little cart. Maybe she's just taking his temperature or her temperature or whatever. I don't know if this is a co-ed medical unit. But you can see on the walls and on the doors, there's different colored placards. You can see the intercoms in between the doors. So all of this stuff goes into the control room, and it's time-stamped. This gentleman here happens to be a psychiatrist. He is the type of person who'll go around, in Richard Allen's case, come and see him 2 and 3 times a week. There's paperwork on the door that has all this person's information, so they're not going in there cold. Let me answer a question or two here. It's weird in juvie, the males are nicer to female guards, and the females are nicer to male guards, generally speaking. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I've never worked with females. No, thank you. No, thank you. Is the drinking sink in the cell? Well, it's the same plumbing. It's just a different button. It squirts up out of the top instead of going down into the sink. But yeah, they can drink water all day, every day. That, from what I hear, Richard Allen asked for water while he was in a meeting with his attorneys. Now, this is a control room. They don't all look the same, obviously. This is just a control room, so you can see what it looks like. These 2 women are running the control room. Looks like this other guy is just coming on duty. He may be an escort, maybe a sergeant, a transport deputy, or what. But you can see they can monitor all the cameras and check all the cameras. They can pop open any door from in here. They can call for help in here. There's a control room in each pod area, and then there's a central control room for the whole facility. See, Brad, first time I toured a prison, I carried a couple of blonde staffing coordinators with us. Every dude in the place is showing the girls their wee weeks. Yeah, they're pigs. I mean, we're all guys. You know, if we were locked up, who knows? But I would like to think that I would be able to control myself. The female tower guards, when I worked death row, they all told me that, hey, I'll shoot them if they're gunning me down. That's what they call it when a male inmate is touching himself looking at them. And they'll just say, hey, he shot first. So I shot second. History of seeking out mother-father figures while still a juvenile. Okay. Hybrid. I worked in both male and female group homes. The girls are far worse than the boys. They are devious and vicious in a unique manner. Yeah, criminal types come in all shapes and sizes, that's for sure. And this is another control room. Now, the reason I want to show you this one is you see the highest monitor there in front of him. He can see every cell in the facility that's under the control of that control room. So that whole wing, pod, whatever you want to call it, if it's the light's on, the door's open. And he's got all these monitors where he can watch and monitor everything that's going on. So Richard Allen is getting plenty of attention. Okay? If he doesn't want to eat, that's his problem. That's his problem. If he wants to act like he's a doofus, you know, and stagger around, that's his prerogative. He can do that. But I've seen it a million times. But I just want to explain to you guys how this stuff works. He's not being treated badly. He's acting like an asshole, but that's his prerogative. He can do that if he wants to. But he is not acting like an innocent person. I put a thing on my community page about what I thought was going on. But, you know, I keep forgetting that, you know, I'm in my own head. So I see the big picture, okay? A few weeks before he was arrested, he was fine. He was working at CVS. He had the keys to the medicine cabinet. He was going out playing in his pool league. He was doing all kinds of shit. He was fine. There was no problem. Exterior, right, on the outside. There was no problem. And so what the prosecutor did, Nick, was got ahead of the game. As soon as the defense started their bullshit, which they knew they were going to because they always do, with that, oh, he's deteriorating mentally. Okay, well, good. Let's get his records from CVS, his employee records, and let's see if they had any concern about his mental condition, because they wouldn't let him have the key to the medicine cabinet if that was the case, would they? Let's see if he has those. And also, let's get with Westville and let's look at their intake evaluation, where he's medically and mentally evaluated before they take him in. So Nick got ahead of them, right? And then they start with that bullshit where they put that picture out of him with stains on his shirt. And who gives a shit? They all have stains on their shirts. They're in jail, prison, whatever you want to call it. He's looking pathetic for a reason. Yeah, he's losing weight. He's stressing out. And this is all my opinion. Like I said, I believe in due process, and he needs to have his due process. We all do. This is America. I personally believe he's guilty, and I definitely could not sit on that man's jury. I don't ever have to sit on a jury anyways, but if the case came along where I was going to have to, there was no way I could sit on his jury. I'd be very, very biased, knowing what I know. So they started their shit, and it worked. It worked. I saw YouTube blow up. People lost their fucking minds about he's being mistreated. This poor man and blah, 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 blah. Fuck him. Fuck him. He's not being mistreated. He's not being mistreated at all. He's actually being treated better than most of the inmates that are held in that unit. So, I don't want to hear that. Did anybody know that he had an iPad in his room and he can watch movies, download music, talk to his wife on the phone? No. But now do you know that? Does that change your mind? They didn't have any of that shit back in 1990, 92. No, when I worked in the death row facility. Nothing like that. Nothing. Zero. Now they get all that. So they're just looking for sympathy and empathy, right? When they should be working on his guilt or innocence. Not trying to play it off like, oh, this poor guy, look, he's withering away. He's not fit for trial, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. Move him wherever you want. Wherever you want. Some of you bleeding heart people that think this poor man is just being wrongfully, take him home. Take him home and you take care of him. If it's that important to you, take him home. Feed him. Give him his meds. Rub his feet. Do whatever you want to fucking do. Just make sure you bring him to court. Okay? That's all. I don't care where they move him. They can put him anywhere they want. Put him in a Holiday Inn. Who gives a shit? As long as they keep him alive and get him to court, I'm fine with it. But his attorneys were not talking about his innocence. They were talking about his treatment. Everything's revolving around that. They still have not waived the right to a speedy trial. They're keeping that in their hip pocket, folks. So they know what they're doing. His attorneys are doing a great job. They're doing some great lawyering. But they are not going about anything to help his case to say that he is innocent. They're worried about all this shit. Now, who went to see him? Who went to see him? Max, whoever Max is, 20 years old, sophomore year of law school, snot-nosed kid. He's on summer break. We'll send him up there because we can't drive all the way up there. We're working divorce cases that we're making money on. We don't have time for all that bullshit. They're not even going to see him. So they're going on his testimony, right? But that's okay. Everybody's like, well, the attorney said, no, the attorney didn't say shit. The attorney said that Max said it. That's why Max went on the stand. Now, is he a trustworthy witness? Is he any more trustworthy than the girls that saw Richard Allen on the trails? You can't draw the line like that. You can't say that, oh, yeah, well, the attorneys are doing. No, they weren't even there. They didn't see what happened. They're going by what Max said, and Max wants a fucking job. So Mac's going to say whatever he can say. He's not even in his third year of law school yet. Yeah, Max Baker, the intern. So they want him moved to Cass County. Move him. Move him. It's right across the street from their office. Perfect. They can walk over there and see him every day. But all of this shit started, they're saying, as soon as he got all that paperwork and started reading what the prosecutor had against him, all of a sudden now he can't form sentences. And now he can only answer every other sentence or every seventh sentence. You know, it's going to be stupid in trial. It's going to be stupid trying to prove that. Of course he's acting like he doesn't understand. Yeah, unturn, N-turn, X-turn, whatever the fuck he is. He's not an attorney. I know that. He's not an attorney. But they're not doing anything to help his case. They're just trying to make everybody feel bad for him. And, him shuffling into the courtroom and all that and how horrible he looked. And I've spoken to several different people that were there that day. And all of them read things differently. All of them did. Everybody was a little bit different. So it doesn't matter, if you're there or not. To say that, oh, well, Ruckus, you weren't in the courtroom, so you don't know. Well, then we need to throw out everything that Rossi said because he wasn't at the prison, was he? Somebody else was. He got his information from Max. So that doesn't even make sense to say that I can't have my opinion because I was not there. That doesn't matter. The attorneys weren't at the prison. Max was. They're going by what Max said, So that's about it. That's all I had. I just wanted to show you guys how it works, why they have him seemingly overkill. But it's not. He's fine. Nothing that is on his person when he goes to that courtroom is painful unless he does something wrong. Then he knows it's going to be painful. We learn that shit when we're little kids. We touch a hot stove once. Let me see. Do you know if the unspent round was found the day they found the girls? No, I don't. I've heard the day of, the day after, a couple days after. Law enforcement, I don't think they put out when it happened, when they found it. My opinion, did this. He's a psychopath deluxe. Ruckus, if he's guilty, does anyone have a motive and held prolonged stress? Maybe this whole thing is weird. Yeah, it is weird. I have no idea what this guy's motive was, but I'm pretty sure that he didn't do it by himself. No. Yeah, they got cell phones and iPads and iPods. And, there's people that are in this chat right now that don't have an iPad. But we're providing one for this guy. And he broke it. And they gave him another one. So that's crazy. But I didn't want this to be long. I just wanted to show you guys how shit works with transporting and all that stuff. He's not being mistreated. From what I understand, he's bought some undergarments and snacks and stuff like that from commissary. So somebody's put money on his books. He's got nowhere to go, nothing to do. This is his only way of getting any kind of sympathy. Yeah, I hope they have a slam dunk case too. I believe they have the right guy. I believe those witnesses. There was plenty of PC in that probable cause. And just to touch on that real quick, because I never really did. I've been hearing people pissing and moaning and whining. That is the weakest probable cause I've ever seen in my life. That's never going to stick. I hope they have more. Well, guess what? He's still sitting in fucking prison, isn't he? He's got these 2 attorneys and how many other attorneys and how many other web sleuths have said this, and yet he's still sitting there on that PC. So you can call it bullshit if you want, but a lot of people smarter than we are have looked at it, and if they thought it was bullshit, he certainly wouldn't be sitting in the position he is now. He'd be sitting at home with stains on his t-shirt instead of in prison. And they switched things around too. That was supposed to be a suppression hearing. They switched it all around, trying to get ahead of this because they know what the prosecution has. They're trying to make it look like too, and I hope you guys don't fall for this bullshit. They're trying to make it look like, oh, the prosecution had this and we didn't know about it. Well, because you have to request it, you freaking idiot. The prison system just doesn't send information out. You have to request it, just like the state did. Now, the state, they have to give it to you because it's discovery, but they could have already had it. So that just goes to show you, man, they're doing a good job by deflecting. They're doing some good lawyering, deflecting and putting things off. They should have just said, okay, we want a speedy trial. I don't care how much evidence you have, how many 10,000s of pages. You better be fucking ready. Because from the second you booked me into that jail and made me under arrest, you got 70 days to bring me to trial. They didn't do that. Why? What sense does that make? Why would an innocent person not want that? Why would he not want that? Because he knows. He knows he's screwed. Now, his best thing would just be to tell who else is involved, and we'll take it from there. I'm more interested now in seeing the Keegan Kline stuff. Ruckus, why do you think he's so heavily shackled? He could be a suit and shock belt like Kohlberger. Yeah, he could be. He absolutely could be. I don't even know if they offered him that, to be honest with you. These are hearings, so a lot of inmates go to hearings in inmate garb. But yeah, he could have. He definitely could be wearing a 3-piece suit. Yeah, and like Kohlberger, I guarantee you, Kohlberger's got a little gift underneath his suit. If he messes up, he'll get zapped. Especially him. He hates women, and all his attorneys are women. You know, so. But that's it. That's all I have for now. I'm waiting on the Keegan Kline case to see what's going to happen with it. If I was a betting man, right, and let's go back to his hearing, right, where we thought he was going to get sentenced, but then he changed it, said, no, some of those aren't my charges. He's changing his mind now. Why was everybody from the Delphi case there? Why were all those detectives there and everything? The way it works, folks, is if they were going to charge him with Delphi already and they had something on him, they would have already arrested him on the Delphi charge, placed a hold on him in Miami County. When Miami County is done with him, then Carroll County would go pick him up and bring him to Carroll County and charge him in the Delphi case. The only thing that I can think of that I've seen before is that he got immunity. So they were going to pick him up, but he's got immunity in Delphi. He's never going to be charged in Delphi. He got immunity in Delphi. So if that's the case, if Keegan Kline's involved, which you guys all know that I do think Keegan Kline's involved, then that would have to be the case. He would have to have immunity for his testimony. So that's where I stand with that. But I'm going to be doing another live. Actually, it's going to be on Richard Allen, the next part. I did an overview of the abduction because I believe this is an abduction gone wrong. That's what I think this is. I did an overview of the abduction. I did a little bit on Keegan Kline. I could do a lot more, but I can save that for another day. And yeah, he knows everything, Amanda. He knows everything they got on him now. But I'm going to do Richard Allen next. So my next live will be about Richard Allen, be a little bit more in depth. And then I'm going to move over to, from there, I'm going to go to Tony Kline because he's definitely involved at some point because just the way that they interrogated Kagan. They don't have anything on Tony, otherwise he would be arrested. But the way they were interrogating Kagan that day, it appears that they really want to Keegan to say that he was involved at least with the CSAM. So I want to dive into that a little bit deeper and address that issue, cover all bases. And I'm still not happy with Ron Logan trying to get an alibi for the time during the murders. Nobody knows why he did it. He's the only one that knows why he lied, but it's sketchy as all hell. I don't believe he was bridge guy. Richard Allen is bridge guy, period, end of story. All this stuff about his height and his weight and how wide he is and how many fingers and toes he has and all that. Who gives a shit? He's bridge guy. Law enforcement is absolutely positive that he's bridge guy. Otherwise, they wouldn't have arrested him and said that he was bridge guy. All right, so the next one will be on Richard Allen. Not this kind of stuff. I just want everybody to see how people are treated when they're being transported and why. And we'll take it from there. Next time I see you guys, probably be next week. I've got some stuff going on. I've got some a new merch person. She's hooking me up. I got a bowling shirt. I've got polo shirts, and of course the moisture wicking shirts in the coffee cubs. And the coffee cubs are ambidextrous, so they're nice. I don't screw around. Top shelf stuff. But there's mouse pads, all kinds of stuff. So if you guys are interested in anything like that, she'll have all that available. And as soon as I get a goodie box from her with all the stuff, I'll show it to you guys. And if you're interested in it, you can grab it. Other than that, I'm getting ready to go next month. I'm going to Indiana with Mr. Steve. That should be a hoot. We got some things going on. We're going to be bouncing all over the place. On the 16th, Jinx has rented Riley Park for a barbecue. Come hell or high water, we're going to try and get there. We'll see what we can do. And Frank Meister has the inside scoop about the docs that the judge is unsealing. So as soon as those things come out, Frank is going to know. And I hope he tells me so I can run and do a live before he does, beat him up. He knows I wouldn't do that. But I can't wait to see what it is. From what I understand, it's all stuff that's been filed. So it's not going to be any groundbreaking stuff. But maybe to help us put shit together. You know what I mean? But all right, guys, that's all I got for now. I tried to keep up with chat. If I missed anybody's question, I apologize, good or bad. If you think I'm a prick, that's fine too. I don't mind any of that. Everybody can't love you, and you can't love everybody. I know how it goes. But if you have any questions or anything like that, if you put them in the comments, I will answer them. I always do. All right, you guys have a great day, and don't take any wooden nickels. My name is Ruckus. Thanks for hanging out. Please like, subscribe, and share. I'm 10-7.